EyeOpener: How the Ultra-Wealthy Hurt a Nation's GDP. Let's first discuss the role that money can play in one's life. While money does provide security and can allow a person to live a good life or more privileged life, it cannot make for a happy life. One thing that might provide the best evidence of this last point is the following. If money made one happy, then why would one need more money than one could spend in their lifetime or the lifetime of their children? In some cases, this illogical need for an excessive amount of money or wealth extends to grandchildren or generations well past one's own life. And though it may be understandable that one would want to secure the future of one's offspring, the logic behind such a belief is questionable when one looks at the offspring who have inherited some of the greatest wealth today and the societies in which they live. If a core tenet to your beliefs is, to each his own, or you prioritize a hedonistic lifestyle above all else, then, yes, by all means, greed is good. Hoarding as much money and wealth is good. Self above all else means you do not view humanity or mankind as a group of social beings, and if that's the case, you cannot and should not be a member of any such construct. In other words, if your wealth and happiness overrides even the survival of all others, you cannot and should not belong to any group. You, my friend, are an island unto yourself and should be as isolated as your wealth implies. And of course, your friends and family can live on the island of you, but there they should sit behind the isolating moat or wall of which you surrounded yourself. If, however, you do deem yourself as part of a group society, nation or world such as planet Earth, then you should have an obligation not only to yourself, but to other members to which you claim membership or community or to which you relate. Either you're in the club or you're not. If you're in club humanity, then you must show a compassion for your cohort that hoarding millions or billions denies. The results are coming in on a daily basis, and they indicate that life is becoming less tolerable for an ever-increasing number of your fellow men, women, and children. Now, you, of course, are not necessarily directly to blame for the disparity between the haves and have-nots, but given that you do control those who do, your guilt is implicit. The clues all lead back to you. The debt that your excessive wealth requires cripples millions. So at what point does happiness override your need for more money? It seems to me that the more money you make, the more money someone can steal from you, which must also chip away from your happiness. Maybe it's the thrill of the game you enjoy. If that's the argument, then go play a game that doesn't cause poverty, starvation, homelessness, and death. Or play the latest iteration of that game, The Sims. Go destroy the lives of virtual people if that brings you pleasure. Just be careful because artificial intelligence might hold a grudge against you for the way you've tortured its Sims ancestors. In conclusion, there would have to be a point of diminishing returns as far as the pursuit of money and the happiness it affords is concerned. At some point, the hundreds of thousands of lives your confiscation of wealth affects can't be worth it. At some point, the millions of lives ended due to the wars from which you profited must outpace the enjoyment received from a higher quarterly earnings report. In the next few posts, the next which will be this Friday, May 9th, I will discuss the job creator lie, the ways in which the excessive wealth of the rich and ultra-rich actually stagnates an economy, who benefits from such tragedies as war and the fallout of such activities. I will address the reasons behind immigration, not just the problems as mainstream media news programs only report. In the meantime, visit the link under the image to a petition which seeks to end the job creator lie and buy the book referenced next for context to the videos posted on this blog. There are plenty of people reporting and complaining about our leaders and their failures. How many, however, are offering or even pointing to any solutions? The book, Solutions, Enough Complaining. Let's Fix America by Chris Osman does and can be found on Amazon or at www.mikesonsentertainment.com. To find out other ways you're being screwed by your current leaders, check out the posts on this blog daily. Learn about the biggest and worst issues that America and its people face today. You can also check into this blog daily to hear about those issues that America and its people will face in the near and distant future. If, however, you would like to discover possible solutions to either mitigate the worst impacts of these issues or solutions to avoid them altogether, keep listening. The problems we face are not as complicated as so many leaders and news reports claim. They are man-made and are only claimed as complicated so those who are responsible can maintain control. For example, there's a persistent argument that moving government is like turning a cruise ship around. It is supposedly a long process that can only be achieved incrementally. While this may be true for laws and policies that benefit the majority of Americans, it does not seem to be so for that smallest of American minorities. When one examines the policies and laws that benefit that minority known as the elite or the rich, the speed at which those laws are passed is exponentially faster. While most of us sit on the deck chairs waiting for the Titanic to avoid the myriad of icebergs of which we seem to continually run afoul, the elite ride comfortably in speedboats. If, according to the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal, why do the rich live quite different lives than the rest of us? Where is our speedboat? In 2018, Chris Osman wrote a book highlighting the problems humanity would face if more power, wealth, and control were funneled to a small group of individuals, groups, or organizations. In that book, Mr. Osman provides solutions, offered up from himself and others, to the inevitable problems we would all face. In it, he also provided a means for the public to analyze, compare, and contrast the words and deeds of those we've chosen to follow against our real-world experiences. To this end, Mr. Osman provides the means for readers to disseminate information as provided by their news sources of choice, their elected officials, and any other authority they choose to follow. The book, titled Solutions, Enough Complaining, Let's Fix America, offers a means to hold leaders up, not just to a higher standard than is currently accepted, but to one that will improve lives. Money buys security, not happiness. Click the link below and get your copy of Solutions today.